Alright, I just arrived at Lake Ontario. I'm going to do some color matching. And I'm going to do a painting of the park with the lake in the background. I'm thinking maybe I could match the shadows of these trees. I'll give it a shot, see how that goes. I'm going to match the color of this grass. This is Hansa Yellow Opaque and Ultramarine Blue. Let's go a little bit duller. I'll add Parallel Red to it. Add a little bit more blue to it. That looks pretty good. So I'm thinking maybe I could color match this tree. It's got some nice bark. It's a gorgeous day. I think we need some rain though because this grass is crunchy. So I got this tree behind me. I think I'm going to try to match the color of the bark. It's going to be tricky to photograph because there's bright clouds behind it. I'll set the exposure for the bark and that will make the background look a little too bright, but that's okay, I think. I'm also looking at these clouds over here. Maybe I could match these. That'd be really interesting. I'm going to match the color of this bark. I'll start with titanium white, ultramarine blue. Got too much paint, my tin is dripping. Parallel red, small amount of Hansa Yellow Opaque. You can see my color is too dark. It's getting closer. I think it needs to be more red though. Like, I think my color is too green. Still a little bit lighter. Maybe just a little bit warmer, so I'll add yellow, red. I think that looks pretty good. All right, so when I'm done, I usually take this paper off, and since I don't want the paint to get in my pocket, I fold it up. Then I put it in this bag, seal it up, and then I have this plastic bottle, and I just swish my brush around in it. And that gets most of the paint off. Got a rag in my back pocket. Dry off the bristles. Put the cap back on it. And you notice I put too much paint in here, so when I'm holding it up, it's dripping all over the place. So I don't know what to do about that. That's how I clean up, and I'll start another video. So I'll try and match these clouds over here. There are some big flat areas of color which will be easier to match. The only issue I have is I'm not sure if the sunlight's going to be on my paper. If it's in shadow, then it'll never get bright enough to match the color of a cloud. But we'll give it a shot, see what happens. Okay, well, the clouds didn't work out. I couldn't get it lined up right with the sunlight. The paper was just too dark. So I tried this barn instead. I'm not sure if I got it right. Like, I tried to get the shadow color, but it was really hard to line the paper up with the part I was trying to match. So I won't really know if I got that right until I get it back home and look at the footage. But it was fun anyways, except for the horsefly that attacked me a couple times and landed on my hand, and I'm gonna head back, maybe go for a bike ride or something. I'm going to match the color of this barn. Start with titanium white, ultramarine blue, a little bit of parallel red. Looks too purple, so I add Hansa Yellow Opaque to it. Fly's buzzing around. Oop. Okay, that's closer. I think it needs more blue. It's too dark. Add more white to it, a little bit more blue, more red, take a touch of yellow, see if I can line this up. I think it's where I was matching it. Looks pretty good. The color of the barn and the bark of the tree were somewhat difficult to mix. That's because people assume that they're neutral grays, but they actually contain subtle colors. I discussed this in my color mixing course. This is a warmer gray compared to what I had before, which is a cooler gray. Here are some of the videos where I mix gray, and if you look at the sampled colors on the left, you'll see that they're not neutral grays. There's just different colors in there. Aside from color mixing demonstrations, I also show how I compensate for how acrylics dry darker, and I even demonstrate that you can mix the same color from different pigments. So I mixed the same color from phthalo blue and primary yellow, and I also mixed it with ultramarine blue and the primary yellow. I headed back over to the lake and took a lunch break, and the cool thing is you can see Toronto from where I'm sitting. It's a little bit faint in this photograph, but if I turn it black and white, you can see the outlines of the building better. That's the CN Tower on the left. The park that I'm at is in Olcott, New York, and it's roughly 39 miles from Toronto. You can only see it on a clear day. If it's hazy out and real humid, you can't see it. I took this picture with a 300mm lens, so it doesn't really look this big when you're there in person. So I decided to paint the scene here in front of the lake, and I'm just sketching it in with like a burnt sienna. I've just mixed this up for my own colors. I'm just trying to establish like the value patterns, trying to figure out the composition. I got this steering wheel desk and I got my paint box on top of it. It's It's a pretty good setup. I can rub out some of these areas if I want to, lighten them up a little bit. So move the tree over. So this is going to take a while. I'm not going to record the whole process. I'll probably just start recording here and there to show the progress. I'm working on putting in some sky color in here before I put the trees down. Kind of makes sense to build things in layers. Do the background first and then put the trees on top of it. I'm not painting the colors exactly the way they are. It's more interesting if you sort of invent your own color scheme. Got most of the shapes blocked in already. I'm still just trying to establish the values. Like this tree should be darker than what's behind it. So that's what I have so far. So here's my palette. I had trouble with my paint dripping down when I was doing color matching, but I used up most of it. I had to refill the yellow, and then I think this red I could use to make some browns. All right, it's pretty much done. I just have to clean up, and then maybe I'll go for a bike ride and take some pictures. Gotta pack all this up. So I put the painting in this panel carrier so it doesn't get damaged. This is just for paint water, so it could be fresh water or wastewater. Just want to get the paint off my hands so I don't get it all over my car or my cameras and stuff. I think that looks pretty good. Time to clean up the rest of this stuff. It's good to be able to stretch my legs and take a bike ride after sitting and painting for a couple of hours. There are these small shops that are painted all these bright colors over here on the right. I thought about color matching it, but they're playing live music right now, so that'd be impossible to record. I didn't realize they were doing construction here. There's normally a bunch of boats on this side. So what I'm going to do is go across the bridge and go to the other side where the marina is. This marina is a jackpot for painting material. There's boats everywhere. I can get a nice shot of this marina from the bridge. I've painted this turquoise restaurant before. It's nice to have these boats right in front of it. I found this boatyard right in front of the water tower, and there's a couple of boats here that I think would make a good painting. That was a nice day. I got to do some painting and color matching. I also feel like I have a bunch of pictures that I can make paintings out of back in my studio. Up next is the video where I paint that small boat painting, or maybe you're interested in watching my Q&A about color mixing.